Did you know that race was not always seen as something biological? Today, many people believe race is fixed. They think it is written in DNA. They think it is something science has proven, something permanent, something you can see on the skin. But that idea is actually very recent. Race, as we understand it today, was not discovered in nature. It was shaped over time, by history, by power, and by economics. Some people accept the idea of race, some reject it, some say they do not see it, others study it deeply. But whether we like it or not, race still affects everyday life. It affects how people are treated, where they live, the opportunities they get, the stereotypes they face. In the United States especially, race continues to shape social systems in deep and lasting ways. That is why this discussion focuses on the US, because ideas about race developed differently in different societies. So to understand race today, we need to go back and ask a simple question. What did the word race originally mean? When the word first appeared in English in the 16th century, it did not mean skin color or biology. It mostly referred to family. It meant people who shared the same lineage, household, or ancestry. Race was about who you were related to, not what you looked like. So, when did that change? When did race stop being about family connections and start becoming a rigid system tied to skin, intelligence, behavior, and human value? That shift began during the colonial period, especially in the 17th and 18th century. And it is closely connected to two major forces: colonial capitalism and the Enlightenment in Europe. After 1492, European powers began colonizing the Americas with one clear goal: profit. Spain focused on extracting gold and silver from the Caribbean and Latin America. To do that, they forced indigenous people to work in mines under violent conditions. Many were punished, many were enslaved, many were killed. Others died from diseases like smallpox brought from Europe. When England established its colony in Virginia in 1607, it hoped for similar wealth, but Virginia did not have large gold deposits, and indigenous people resisted English control. They knew the land, they escaped, they fought back. Large-scale enslavement of indigenous people became difficult to maintain, but the English still wanted profits. That profit came from tobacco. Tobacco became highly valuable in Europe, but growing it required heavy, continuous labor. Plantation owners needed a large workforce. To meet that demand, they relied on two main groups: indentured servants from Britain and enslaved Africans. Indentured servitude was based on contracts. A person would work for a fixed number of years. Conditions were harsh, but the contract ended. Many servants eventually became free and owned land. Slavery was different. Enslaved Africans were treated as property. There was no contract, no consent, no end date, and slavery became hereditary. Children inherited the status of their mothers. If a mother was enslaved, her children were enslaved for life. That meant slavery could continue generation after generation. As slavery expanded, resistance also grew. Enslaved people escaped, they rebelled, they sabotaged plantations. Some Europeans even questioned the morality of the system. Colonial societies needed a justification, something that would make slavery seem natural and permanent. That justification became race. In the 18th century, Europeans began linking physical features like skin color to intelligence, morality, and behavior. These ideas were presented as science, but they were not based on solid evidence. They were shaped by social practice. Slavery already existed. These theories were created to defend it. The logic moved backward. Because slavery existed, enslaved people must be inferior. Race became the explanation. During the Enlightenment, European thinkers tried to classify and rank everything in nature. Humans were placed into hierarchies too. Physical differences were treated as proof of natural inequality. These ideas influenced laws. In 1790, US naturalization laws limited citizenship to free white persons. Children of enslaved mothers remained enslaved. Native Americans were denied property rights. Laws banned interracial marriage. Race became written into law. It is also important to remember that whiteness was not always one united category. In the 19th and early 20th centuries, groups like the Irish, Italians, Jews, and Eastern Europe were often seen as separate and inferior. Over time, especially in the early 20th century, they were absorbed into a broader definition of whiteness. Race shifted again, shaped by politics and social power. So, what does all this show? Race began as a word about family and ancestry. It became tied to physical traits because colonial systems needed labor. Slavery needed justification, and Enlightenment ideas provided a framework that made inequality look natural. Race did not create inequality. Inequality created race as a system. Today, many people are reconnecting with their specific ethnic cultural histories instead of only identifying as black or white. At the same time, old ideas about race as biology still appear, sometimes presented as modern science. That is why understanding the origin of race matters. Race is not timeless. It is not genetic destiny. It is a historical construction shaped by power, profit, and politics. And understanding that helps us question the systems we live in today. So, let me ask you, what other moments in the US history do you think help shape the idea of race? Drop your thoughts in the comments.